All right, so we are live. The recording has started at 7:55 p.m. It's around 5 minutes from the start of class. And Eric and I, if you're watching this remotely later on, we are your instructors. So welcome to Hack3. We'll hang around for the next 5 or 10 minutes. And in the email that we'll send out, we'll include timestamp for you to start at. All right, hi, can you guys hear me? Seems like Jennifer is still connecting to audio. Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing pretty well. Seems like Lily just hopped off, but how are you doing? So are you excited for talking about computer science?
Yes, I am. It's a pretty cool thing to talk about.
What is something cool that you've made recently?
Um, let's see. I guess, oh, on the Hack3 website for the schedule, I made it so that like it automatically like updates and stuff. Yeah, so that
Cool.
was pretty cool.
All right, and Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, cool. Are you fine like engaging with us, kind of like this is like a real class or something?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, cool. How are you doing? How's life?
It's good. I'm in the summer break, so I'm just chilling.
Yeah, my last day of school is actually tomorrow, and we didn't have school today, so 3-day like long weekend, and last day of school half day tomorrow. So I already didn't have anything to do this weekend, basically. Um, are you new to computer science, or is this your first hackathon?
This is my second hackathon now. I just did one over the weekend.
Cool. So how much like computer science experience do you already have?
I have like some experience, like with some languages right now, but not so much, I think. Yeah.
So like, did you learn from school or did you just figure things out on your own?
From school and also a program.
Cool.
Yeah.
So Eric, have you, what's your favorite hackathon that you've been to?
Well, the only one that I've been to was Hack3, which was last year. Yeah.
Cool. What did you do during Hack3 last year?
I didn't make any projects, but I did like attend all the workshops. So I learned a lot of things like APIs and AIs, which was taught by someone from Amazon.
Oh yeah, Randy Moy, he's actually going to be running a workshop on AI on Saturday this year as well. So welcome Lily and Miguel. Am I saying your names right? How are you guys doing? Are you guys there? Well, I guess because it's online, it's a bit awkward, but
I think you pronounced Miguel wrong. I think, I'm not sure.
how are you supposed to say it?
Wait, how did you say it? I think you just,
Miguel?
yeah, I think you're doing like the U wrong, or I don't know, but I think it's Miguel. Miguel. Yeah, but
I
I don't
see.
know.
Perfect. So, is your microphone working? Okay, no worries. So Eric, do you want to? Eric, do you want to get started?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so everyone who's joining, just a bit of background. So we had a total of 57 signups to view this class, but actually the vast majority opted to watch recording. So you guys are the lucky ones who get to ask questions and engage. So definitely feel free to unmute and speak up if you have any questions. So let's start off by just breaking the ice a bit. Eric, so I already asked you about like what your first hackathon was. You said it was Hack3. Can you tell me a bit more about that experience? So how was it last year? So even if you didn't actually create a project, what did you do during the hackathon?
Yeah. So like I attended all the workshops and then I also met a lot of cool people and like talked with them as well. So even though I didn't create any projects, I still got some cool experiences out of it. And also on our Slack, there's a team formation channel. So if you don't have a team, you can go there and meet some people to form your own team.
So for a hackathon, does it really matter if you're creating projects, or what kind of like spirit should Hack3 participants embrace?
I think the spirit is just meeting new people and then creating and then forming a team with them and then creating a product that like everyone is proud of. Yeah.
All right, cool. So it is 8:04. Do you want to get started now?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So just a bit of info about us. My name is Jonathan Lay. I'm a student at the Acton-Boxborough Regional High School in Acton, Massachusetts. It's just around like 20 miles outside of Boston. My favorite hackathon that I've been to is Metro Hacks. So I went there a few years ago. I was still in 8th grade, and I had a group of friends that was going. I had a group of friends that were going, but they had already formed a team with 4 people. So I was basically on my own. And the fact that I was on my own, that I didn't have any friends, actually meant that I enjoyed the hackathon a lot more. So I met a lot of new people. In fact, I still keep in touch with 3 people from Metro Hacks that I met to this very day. It's meeting other students from other towns was really eye-opening, and it made me realize that I'm not in like a vacuum. Like there are other people who are similar to me, and we think very similarly. So yeah, since then I've helped organize 5 hackathons, with Hack3 2022 being the 5th one. I started off with Hack3 2020 2 years ago, and I helped organize 2 other hackathons, one of them in person. Last year there was Hack3 2021, and this is my 5th hackathon. In my free time, I like playing with server hardware. So you can see that's a picture of me, I think in 7th or 8th grade, with some servers I had bought off of eBay and put in my basement.
All right, so hi, I'm Eric's son, and I just graduated from high school at Westford Academy, which is in Westford, Massachusetts, and that's a picture of me in my graduation outfit. And in the past, I had 3 pet parakeets, which I unfortunately don't have any pictures of. And in my free time, I love to go biking and play video games. And that's a picture of my bike at a trail that's near my house.
Cool. So let's start off with what is not a hackathon. So I know a lot of you guys might be beginners, and that's why you're here with us today. So number one, it's not about creating complex algorithms. You don't have to know like these fancy math formulas. You don't have to have studied like calculus 3 or anything like that. And it's also not about solving predefined problems. So imagine that in like a math test, you get a problem that's like solve, I don't know, like x plus 2 is equal to 4, and you have to figure out what x is. A hackathon is not about solving a predefined problem, and it's not about creating some really complex algorithm. So, for example, a hackathon is not something like this, where this is a problem snippet from a coding competition called USICO. And there are a lot of these programming competitions. In these programming competitions, you're trying to solve like the problem by creating an algorithm. And a hackathon is simply not that. So rather, a hackathon is about building projects that solve problems. And at Hack3, we provide 3 different tracks or themes. We release this on Saturday morning during our opening ceremony. So you guys will get info about that on the day of. That way, no participants cheat by starting beforehand. And so basically, out of these themes, for example, one of them might be COVID-19, you define a specific problem within that, and then you create a prototype for a solution. And then after that, then you pitch your solution to the judges. So if you, Eric, if you go back to the previous slide, you can see these 2 pictures are from Hack MIT from other years. And there you can see each table has basically like a team of a few people, and they're all creating a solution to a problem that they basically define that they will then pitch on to their judges. So an example project can be the Mask Pie project. This is along the COVID-19 track. This is in the year 2020 at our first hackathon, and some participants decided that businesses needed to be able to enforce masking. And keep in mind, this is back before like the vaccine and stuff. So their solution was to use AI to check if masks are worn, so that businesses can basically maybe install these cameras, and then the cameras would detect if someone is wearing a mask or not. So this is a very simple prototype. Just someone created a camera, then it would use the camera feed to identify if there is a person, and if there is a person, if there is a mask on that person or not. So this is a project that was shared to me by the founder of an organization called Hack Club. So Hack Club basically helps a lot of hackathons like ours organize their events. And this is actually a project that he created. And the hackathon was called the like stupid shit hackathon. Sorry for the profanity there. And at this hackathon, there aren't any problems. People just create cool projects. So this project was just a computer that explodes. And at this hackathon, the goal is to basically create projects that people will laugh at. And this project did exactly that. So definitely, if there's something that's really cool, hackathon judges will like that as well. All right, Eric, can you move on to the next slide? So about Hack3, we are, Eric, can you move to the previous? Okay, so we are a hackathon for high school students by high school students. We have a global dedicated team spanning Asia, Europe, and in the United States, where Eric and I both reside. We are a nonprofit with 501c3 status, and this is our 3rd online hackathon. Our goal is not to just be another cookie cutter hackathon. We want to make sure that we are welcoming high school students like you guys who are joining us on the call, and like the 52 other people who signed up to watch the video recordings. And we want to really make this be an actual meetup of computer interested students of all different backgrounds. So no matter where you are in the world, if you're a high school student, you should really use Hack3, and especially that team formation channel where over a dozen people have already sent intros about themselves to go meet other high school students, make new friends. We really want this to be a really special time for high school students. So again, just to summarize, for Hack3, we are looking for you guys to create projects from Saturday to Sunday. And then when you submit those projects, you will present these to judges. Judges aren't looking necessarily for technical complexity. They're really looking at if your project actually solves something and if it actually works. Does the proof of concept kind of work? And we're not looking for a finished project here. Everyone understands that nobody can create a perfect solution to anything in 24 hours. Just can you kind of have a vision for something that solves a problem with one of our tracks? And if so, can you actually execute at least a little bit of that? So in this class, we are going to be teaching you the skills to build hackathon projects, starting at the very basics with like an intro to computer science in general. So today we're going to be covering just intro to computer science. We're going to be starting off with some Python. Tomorrow, we're going to be diving deeper into Python. Then we'll be integrating the Twitter API to start sending tweets and stuff. And then we'll integrate the Airtable API to start holding data. So basically we'll have enough information and experience working with different APIs. APIs, by the way, are just integrations with other companies so that we will have all this information so that you guys during the actual hackathon can integrate many different applications together. For example, once you guys have integrated 2 APIs or integrations together with us during this class this week, then over the actual weekend, you should be able to then integrate your own integrations with other companies to build your own projects. And so keep in mind that like math or algorithmic thinking does not matter as much as you actually might think. So we aren't looking for you to become like the next huge problem solver to create these brilliant applications or that might run for like Google or something. You're really just creating like a simple prototype. It can just be basically hacked together, right? That's basically what you do during a hackathon. And so you don't really have to actually be that smart or anything. This is really something for everyone to be able to do. So in this class, as I mentioned, we'll be able to learn about connecting APIs or integrations with other companies and databases to create simple programs that do cool things. All right, so I'm wondering if you guys can share a bit about what you already know. Does anyone want to volunteer? You guys can use the chat, or if you guys can unmute, that would be great. Okay, so Ashley has experience with JavaScript and HTML. Nice. Miguel is starting with Swift UI. Hope I said your name correctly this time. Cool. So in this class, we're going to learn a little bit about Python and basically create some API integrations. So for someone like Ashley who has experience with front-end design, you can, with this back-end knowledge, be able to create some projects like some web applications that do cool things on the back end as well. All right, so this next section of the project or of this presentation covers what exactly is computer science. So very simply, computer science is the art of solving problems through the use of computers. So we can start off with an input, which is like some problem, and then something happens, which is basically our computer algorithm, and then there's an output. So for example, if the input is you type a few keys, then the algorithm could be some code running on Windows, which is the operating system by Microsoft that you are running on your computer, that then processes it and tells, I don't know, like Microsoft Word to actually display the new keys that you just typed, which is the output. So computer science is about solving problems that we face in everyday life, and we can figure out how computers work and think of new ways to make them work faster and more efficiently. So what are some examples of computer science? If you think about drug discovery, so there are a bunch of graphics cards at many big drug companies that are basically simulating how proteins work. That helps expedite the creation of new medicines. If you actually go to a hospital, they will use online databases to basically track all of your health information. That way they don't have to be sifting through huge stacks of paper to find previous health records. That way you can have more informed health decisions. Airline ticketing systems, like the fact that you can go online, buy flights, that's pretty amazing in my opinion. And GPS, so if you're going into a car, you can automatically get told where to turn, and eventually self-driving cars as well. So all of these are implementations of computer science. So as you can see, computer science is basically found everywhere, and there are so many different domains ranging from airline ticketing to self-driving cars that there's really something for everyone. And as I mentioned before, you don't have to be like the smart math nerd in your class to actually make some cool computer science projects.
All right, so now we'll talk very basically on how do computers work. So for computers, the language they use is called binary, which is just zeros and ones. And each of these zeros and ones is called a bit, which is short for binary digit. And the reason why computers use zeros and ones is because it's the most simple it can get. It's either on or off, 0 or 1. So for example, the decimal number 0 could be represented in binary by 0, 0, 0. And then for 1, it would be 0, 0, 1. But however, since the only numbers are 0 and 1, for 2, you would flip the second number and then flip the last one back to 0. And then for 3, it'd be 0, 1, 1, and this would go all the way up to 7. But for code, we do not need to know about binary because we will be using a programming language. And this will be and then this code will be translated back into machine code, which then the computer uses. For algorithms. So back to this model. For the part where something happens here, that usually would be an algorithm, which is a set of instructions that the computer follows. So an example algorithm could be, we read the latest tweet from Elon Musk, and if the tweet includes buy Dogecoin, then we go buy Dogecoin, and we could print something out like this was successful. A simpler algorithm could be, we ask the user what the temperature is and what the weather is. And if the temperature is low and the weather is bad, then we recommend them a jacket. If the temperature is low and the weather is good, then we recommend a long sleeve shirt. And if none of those are true, then we would recommend them a short sleeve shirt. So the first step would be to ask users for inputs. And we have to make sure to store this information. And we can store information in things called variables. And since they're called variables, they're things that can vary. So for example, in math, if you have a function that's 2x, and then you input a 2, then you'll get an output of 4. And then if you input a 4, you get an output of 8. So x is a variable because it is not set at first. And then also there are if-else. These are called conditionals, which basically do something based on a condition. So if something is true, then you do something. For example, if the temperature is greater than 100 degrees, then 100 degrees Fahrenheit, then it will print out it is hot. And else happens if none of the previous conditions are met. So if temperature is less than 100 degrees, then else it'll print out it is not hot. So now we'll move from all this logic to code. So if you guys haven't already, go to replit.com and sign up for an account or log in if you already have an account. And also I'll do this on my side too. Guys, so right here, I'm gonna sign up for a new account, and I'm just gonna be using my Google account.
Oh, Miguel, that's very interesting. So Miguel mentioned that the word algorithm comes from, I'm not going to say that word, who was an Arab mathematician. Very interesting. I did not know that. Thank you so much.
Thanks for that cool fact.
With things like variable, it's just very able, I guess. So that's an interesting way to memorize that. But with algorithm, yeah, I did not think of where that could have came from.
Okay, so I'm just gonna wait like 1 more minute to let everyone sign up for a Replit account.
All right, Ashley says that she's good.
Okay, is there anyone who's still signing up right now, or is everyone all set?
All right, so in this following segment, Eric will be demonstrating some of the basic concepts of computer science by actually writing code. I would highly suggest, if you have a large enough monitor, having this Zoom session be like take up half your screen, and having your own tab on Replit take up the other half.
Okay, I'm just gonna assume that everyone's done signing up. Okay, so right here, you'll see a create project section. So click on Python, and then you can just name the title as like basic Python. And then you want to create the REPL. And then after, you should see a screen that looks something like this. So on the left side of the screen, you should see a main.py file, and that's where you type all of your code. And then at the top, there's going to be a run button. And if you click that, all the output from your code will go into the console, which is on the right side of the screen. So a variable in Python is an object that holds some value, and there are 4 main types. There's an integer, which is just any whole number, a float, which is any decimal number, a string, which is just characters and letters put together, and a Boolean, which is either the value true or false. So in this picture, dozen is an integer because it's holding the whole number 12. Pi is a decimal because it's holding the decimal number 3.14. Quote is a string because it holds Hack3 is awesome. And is Tuesday is true, but it's actually Monday, so that should have been false. But yeah. Okay, so now what I want you to do is go onto Replit and create your own integer, float, string, and Boolean variables. So for example, I'll put my age and I'll set that to 18. So now age is an integer that's holding the number 18. And then I'll have another variable that's called a random, which will just hold a random number, a random decimal number, like 123.456. Then I'll have a variable called name that holds my name. So you can put in your name, and then I'll have a Boolean called first time, which holds whether if this is my first time doing a hackathon or not. And since this isn't, I'll set it as false. But if this is your first time, then you would want to set it as like true. Okay, now printing in Python. You can use the print function to print something out to the console. So, for example, if I type in print and then hack3, you can only print out strings. So that's why I put the 2 quotation marks around it. If I run that, then now it'll print out hack3. And then I can also print out a variable. So if I wanted to print out my name, I would print out the variable name. And if I run it, it will also print out my name to the console. All right, so now what I want you guys to do is print out your variables that you made from before. So print out your age, the random number that you had, the name, your name, and the first time.
Eric, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can I set the name of a variable to be anything? So for example, did you have to use name is equal to Eric's son, or could you have used my name or your name?
You can set it as anything. Like I can also set it as Jonathan's name. So it basically holds whatever you want. Yeah. Okay, so now if I run this code, it prints out my age, the random number, Jonathan's name, and false. Another thing is you can also combine strings together. So if I do print and then my name is, then I can add the variable name to it. If I print that out, it will put Jonathan's name at the end of my name is as one whole line. Then I can make this even more complex by doing and I am plus. And since age is a integer, I need to turn it into a string. So if I do str and then put age inside the parentheses, and then do some more. Now it's going to print out. My name is Jonathan Lee, and I am 18 years old.
So why did you need that str parentheses?
Because if you don't do that, then you'll get an error, which is saying how age is an int, and then you can't like smash that together with the string. So by putting str around age, it will turn the number 18 into the string 18 and then add that onto the end of the string. So now I also want you guys to do this, to print out my name is, then your name, and I am whatever your age is, years old. Okay, and another thing is You can also input things to the console with the input parentheses function. So if I have a variable, let's just call it x, and then I do it equals input parentheses, and then inside the parentheses, I can put what prompt I want to show in the console. So if I type like, what is your name? And then I print out x. Then when I run it in the console, it'll ask, what is your name? So if I type in Eric's son, it will store that into the x variable, and then I can print out what is stored in that variable. So input is how you would take in inputs from the console. Yeah, okay. In Python, there are these things called comments that you can add to your code by including a hashtag at the front before the code. And some reasons why you want to do this is to explain what a piece of code does, or to have a program skip that line of code when it is running. So for example, say I have a line of code that prints hello. I can put a hashtag before it and explain what this does, which is this prints hello. And then after, I have a print by, but then put a hashtag in front of it, it will skip that line. So if I run this, it'll print out hello, but not by. And a trick is you can comment out multiple sections of code, or you can like comment out code if you highlight the line and then do control / and it'll automatically comment out the code. And then you can highlight multiple lines and also do that. Yes, Python is way easier than Java. Much less syntax and crazy stuff. Okay. So conditions in Python. So the Boolean values true and false are used for conditional logic. In some ways I can compare values as two equal signs, which is for equality, a greater than, which is greater than, less than, which is less than, greater than or equal to, and which is greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to, which is less than or equal to. So for example, I'm just gonna delete all that. If I do print 2 is equal to 2, since 2 is equal to 2, then this should print out true, and it does. And if I do something like print 3 is greater than or equal to 5, since 3 isn't greater than or equal to 5, it'll print out false. And
So why did you have to use the double equals?
Because if you use the single equals, that's what you use when you're setting a certain value to a variable. Yeah. And if I do like print 0 is less than 1 and 0 is less than 1, it should print out true, and it does. All right. So you can use if, elif, and else statements for checking comparisons. And you want to make sure to indent whatever code you want to be included into this statement. And you can use and or to make even more complex Boolean statements. So, for example, before I had my age as 18. So I can do if my age is greater than or equal to 0 and my age is less than or equal to 13. Then I put a colon and then I have to make sure to indent. I can print out that I am a kid. And then now I can do an elif if my age is greater than or equal to 13. Oh wait, here I have to make sure it's just less than. Okay, greater than or equal to 13 and my age is less than 18. I can print out that I am a teenager. Then I can have another one, which is my age is greater than or equal to 18. And I can print out that I am an adult. I forgot to put the quotes. And I can just have an else, which means this should only happen if my age is negative. So then I'll print out, I have a negative age. So if I run this, since my age is 18, it should print out I'm an adult. So if I, for example, change the age variable to hold the number 3, and it should print out I am a kid. And if it's like some negative number like -3, then it'll print out I have a negative age. Yeah. Okay. So you can also use Boolean values directly as a condition. So before I had a first time variable that was whether if it was my first time at a hackathon or not, and I set it to false. So I could do, if it is my first time, then print out, this is my first hackathon. And then else, meaning that first time would be false, I will print out this isn't my first hackathon. And so we should print out that this isn't my first hackathon since the variable is holding the value false. Okay, some takeaways. Jonathan?
All right, so today we learned about, can you move to the next slide? So in Python, we learned about setting variables. Variables are just things that basically store a piece of data. We outputted things by printing, and then we used conditionals to compare different things. We learned about how we can format strings through the use of str and parentheses. So if you're printing out a Boolean or something like that, and you want to print it out in a single sentence, you have to convert that into a string. And we also learned about comments, which are ways that we can store bits of data in our program, like for example, snippets of code that we don't want to be using, or as general information about the code that we're running without actually having the program run through that. So for homework, let's have you create some of your own programs. So for tomorrow, if you guys can, create an algorithm or just some cool thing that implements multiple things that we learned today. So as we touched on at the start of this class, here is an algorithm. We first ask the user what the temperature is, then we ask the user what the weather is, and if the temperature is low and the weather is bad, then we can recommend a jacket. If the temperature is low and the weather is good, then we can recommend a long sleeve shirt. Otherwise, we can recommend short sleeve shirts. So Eric, I'm wondering, would you like to create this algorithm right now?
Sure, yeah, I can try and create this right now.
So now that we've basically learned everything that we want to cover today, now we're going to actually implement it in some code examples.
So first, I'll ask the user what temperature it is. So I could have a variable called temperature, and that'll be the input function, and I'll ask, what is the temperature? Question mark. And then I'll ask what the weather is. What is the weather? And then now I have to check if the weather is low. So I'll just say that that means the temperature is less than 40 degrees and weather is equal to bad. Then I'll print out, bring a jacket. Now I'll use elif if the temperature is low again. So temperature less than 40. However, this time the weather's good, I'll print out wear a long sleeve shirt. And if none of those are true, then I'll just print out wear a short sleeve shirt. Okay. So now I can test this. What is the temperature? I can say it's 20 degrees. What is the weather? Oh wait, there's no question mark. Oops. I can say it's bad. And that doesn't work. Hold on. Oh, it's because when I input it, I'm inputting 20 as a string and not an integer. So I don't know if this works because I'm kind of forget, but it might if I just.
Eric, can you copy and paste the prompt as a comment?
Yeah. Wait, this then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. Oops. Okay. Okay, so let's try to see if this works now. So the temperature is 20 and the weather is bad. It says bring a jacket, which is right. Now let's say the temperature is 20, but the weather is good. And I'll say wear a long sleeve shirt. And if the temperature is like 100 degrees and then the weather is good, it should go to the else statement, and it does. And it says wear a short sleeve shirt. So that's this algorithm, but then in Python. Yeah. So I want you guys to see if you guys can create your own small programs like this.
So Eric, what are the different like comparison tools that we can use? So we can use less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, just equals.
Yeah.
And when we're using and, what are like the other things that we can use for if statements?
Oh, there's also or. So I could test that right here. If I change this to or, if temperature is less than 40 or weather is bad, then this will print out. So say my temperature is 100, but then I say the weather is bad. Now it will still say bring a jacket because this part is true. And means that both of the conditions have to be true. For or, it's just at least one has to be true, and then this part will run. That's it. Is there anything else, Jonathan?
I feel like you should go through some more like examples.
Go
I don't know.
Okay. I'll try to think of some.
So what if I want to check if the temperature is less than 40 degrees? And so what if I want to check if the temperature is between 20 and 40 degrees and the temperature and like the weather is good?
Okay. So,
So what if I want to compare three different things?
I can do first if the temperature is, wait, Did you say less than 4 degrees and greater than 20 degrees?
Just between 20 and 40 degrees.
Okay, so if I say if the temperature is greater than 20 and the temperature is less than 40 and the weather is bad, then I'll print out the temperature is between 20 and 40 and the weather is bad. Then I'll change it to all right, so now if I run this and I set the temperature as 30 and the weather is bad, that should print out. And that's how you can compare like 3 things at once. So you can do however much you want. You could be like, you could have like 20 different conditions. Yeah.
What if I want to check if the temperature is either below 20 degrees or higher than 40 degrees and the weather is bad?
Ooh, that makes it a tiny bit more complex. Well then I would probably use the or, and then this is less than 20 and this is greater than 40. However, I think and has more precedence over or, which means like this part will be checked first and then the less than 20, which might make things more confusing. So I can just put this part, the or part, in parentheses so that it first does the temperature part. Oh wait, put parentheses on the wrong thing. It first does the temperature part, and then after it checks if the weather is bad. So I'll do the temperature is below 20 or greater than 40. So now if I set the temperature as 10 and the weather is bad, it'll print that out. And if I do the temperature is 50 and the weather is bad, it will also still print that out. Yeah.
All right, so Evan, I think that should answer your question on if you can use parentheses to change the order of precedence. And so yeah, it works just like in math. You do like the program checks everything in the parentheses first, and then it goes on like a step-by-step basis to check everything after that. So Umar asked, is it possible to use double and instead of quote and in Python?
Well, let's try it. And it does not work because Python doesn't recognize the 2 ands as a symbol. So you'll have to use and or spelled out.
So Miguel mentioned he wants to import a .txt file and then clean it of punctuation signs and get the number of times each word is repeated and make a Gaussian distribution to find the standard deviation and classify the words. Wow, that's a lot. Maybe we will get into that as we dive deeper into Python tomorrow. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe we could try that.
Very interesting. That would be something that would be nice to do during the actual hackathon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we won't cover this today, but you can use like, so first you can import the .txt file. You can use some libraries to do that. We'll cover importing modules tomorrow. And then you can use like the .replace function to alter your strings. And then there are some other functions to help count each word, but we do not want to go there today. So Eric, what if I want to check if the temperature is not something? How would I do that?
Oh, I didn't talk about that yet. For not, I'm pretty sure the symbol that you use is exclamation point. Oh wait, no. Oh wait, or it just might be the keyword not. Hold on, let me try that. So if the temperature is not 20, then I'll print out it is not 20. I'll just comment all this out. Okay. Oh. Hold on, it's mildly not working. Oh, I have to type it all again. Okay. So if the temperature is not 20, then it is not 20. Oh, okay, wait. Not might not be the right thing. Exclamation point. Yeah, okay. So now if I type in like 50, it'll print out it is not 20. So equal to would be equal sign. For not, it's exclamation point equal to. Is there any other examples that you think I should go through, Jonathan?
So Ashley is asking me about if we can use true and false variables.
We can.
And if so, how would you incorporate that?
So
instead of checking each time, like if the int temperature is less than 20, can we just create variables to track that?
yes. So if we have like is temp low, and if we set that equal to true, and then if we do if is temp low, I can print out the temperature is cold, and then I'll print out the temperature is hot. So now if we run this, since I set it as true, it'll print out the temperature is cold. And now if I change this to false, this condition isn't true anymore, so it'll go to the else statement and it'll print out the temperature is hot.
All right, any questions from you guys? So we're just at like 5 minutes left. If people are already done asking their questions through the chat, is there anything else that you want to cover, Eric?
I don't think so. Tomorrow we'll be just going into more depth into Python and learn about loops and some other cool things.
Okay, so I don't want to drag this on for more time than you guys want to. And so, yes, a recorded video will be available to you guys, even if you guys join the Zoom. And yes, we will send slides through email so you guys can take a look at everything that we've covered today. For example, the fact that conditionals can be less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or just greater than, or even not equals to. It's probably going to be a bit easier if you guys can look at these, and we'll also send the code snippets that we worked on today. So without further ado, if you guys want to hop off, feel free to leave.
Thanks.
We will stay on and continue answering questions.
Thanks. Thank you all for joining this first class.
All right, Eric, could you stop recording?
Yep.